Ohio politics is heating up as we head toward 2026. The race for Secretary of State is just one of the contests that we'll be watching closely. Lindsay McCoy caught up earlier with the latest Democratic candidate looking to get the job.
It's a busy week in Ohio politics with candidates announcing they are running for statewide and federal office next year. In 2026, all 4 statewide executive offices are up for election in Ohio. And just this morning, we learned Democratic Ohio State Representative Allison Russo is preparing to run for Ohio Secretary of State. 21 News is your place for politics. We're spending 5 minutes at 5 with the candidates for the upcoming election cycle. And Representative Russo joins me here now. You just wrapped up serving as the minority leader in the Ohio House. While Republicans still hold the supermajority, as a Democrat, how have you been able to make inroads on key issues that could benefit if you're elected as Secretary of State?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. Listen, I have been in the legislature for 7 years, going on to 8 years. Worked through multiple speakers as minority leader, 3 speakers. And, you know, what I learned is you can be effective, but it takes a lot of work. And you have to have those conversations and build those relationships. I am running for Ohio Secretary of State because I think that it is the most important position other than the governor in statewide office, quite simply because that office is responsible for making sure that people have access to the ballot and they can make their voice heard.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of different responsibilities if elected to this role. Why do you believe this is the office that you want to hold?
Well, you know, when I made the decision to step down as minority leader you know, decide, do I even want to run again for another office? It was important to me that whatever decision I made, that it was about what could have the most impact on the future of this state. And the Secretary of State's office, to me, I know how important it is to restore power back to the people so that people do feel like their vote matters, that they have a voice and their representation. And that's what I base the decision on.
And you joined the ticket with former U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown, who's running for re-election. You also flipped a seat that used to be red when you were first elected. But we have seen some more partisan climate in Ohio when it comes to politics lately. How do you feel the Democrats' chances are for 2026?
Well, listen, without a doubt, it's going to require a lot of work. I think we do have some unique opportunities in 2026, just given what is going on at the national level and what history teaches us about midterms. But listen, you know, as you pointed out, I've run in tough elections, flipped seats, run in highly gerrymandered seats where the outcome was already predetermined. And what I have learned is you have to get out there and do the work. Don't take for granted any group of voters. Talk about why you're running and most importantly, how you are going to fight for people. And I think the Secretary of State's office, you know, is not a partisan office. It should not be a partisan office. The primary goal, regardless of how people vote or what side of an issue that they are on, the primary goal is to make sure that people have full access to make their voice heard. And so that will be what I will be running on and restoring trust and faith in that office.
What are some of the biggest changes that you want to make if elected?
Well, I think first and foremost is adding more trust and transparency. Unfortunately, what we have seen over the last 8 years and really even before Frank LaRose with others who have held that office is undermining the will of voters, making it harder to access the ballot, making it harder to trust that when you go in and see ballot language that it is true, making it more difficult for election workers to do their jobs. So I think that, you know, my role and number one job will be restoring that trust and faith because people want to feel like their vote matters and they can trust elections and the integrity of elections.
Now, you've also worked on redistricting reform in the House. That is one of those issues that's difficult for the average person sometimes to understand because it's so, you know, so many details included. But we've covered a lot here. Why is it important to work on that? And what do you think about the process moving into 2026?
Yeah, well, before 2026, legislators will be back at the table redrawing the congressional districts And I think, yet again, we will see undermining the will of voters in terms of how those congressional districts will be manipulated. Listen, I have always and fully support citizen-led commissions to do redistricting. I do not think the politicians should be part of this process because I've sat across the table from my colleagues and learned how they can manipulate the process, undermine the will of voters, lessen the voice of voters. And so, I think it's a key issue. We probably will see it come back up as a ballot initiative over the next couple of years. And listen, regardless of what side of a ballot initiative you are on, what I believe is that the job of the Secretary of State is to increase transparency, make sure that it's accurate, and it reflects the intent of voters. It shouldn't be manipulated based on how you want the outcome to be.
All right, well, I really appreciate you joining us here for 5 minutes at 5. We'll watch your campaign as it starts to take shape, but thank you so much for joining us right here.
Thank you.